Welcome back to FreightWaves now on this Thursday morning. And right now we're talking about a topic that can get a little bit heavy at times, but
Yeah.
is super important for us here in this industry. We've got Nathalie Mathis on the line from Shipwell, and we're talking to her a little bit about mental health in the industry.
Absolutely. Welcome, Natalie. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Michael, for having me on this morning.
We're definitely really excited to talk to you about something that kind of goes overlooked when it comes to all aspects of the trucking and logistics industry, whether that's corporate or drivers or brokers or whatever. Mental health is super, super important for anyone who's working really in a job at all.
Yeah, it
Yes.
absolutely is, and I'm glad that you come on here to talk about it. And let's get into that. What is Shipwell, and give us a little background on what you guys are doing there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Shipwell is a freight technology company based in Austin, Texas. And so we provide a three-in-one platform solution for shippers, carriers, and brokers across the industry. And specifically, circling back to mental health, exactly what you said, Kaylee, the topic, not just specific to our industry, but across the globe is really, stigmatized. And so I think it takes everybody's effort on an individual and corporate level to destigmatize that topic. And it really is on employers as well to, invest in their people and provide resources for them to be able to have, support around mental health. And especially this month, it being Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm excited to be on today to be able to talk about, some of the tips and resources I've been able to leverage.
And so, of course, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We're coming up on the end of it now, but mental health awareness shouldn't stop just with 1 month of the year. It should be a 365-day
Yeah.
practice,
Yeah.
every aspect, every person. Talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges that you see across the industry that most people are dealing with when it comes to mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I think some of the issues and the obstacles that people are facing in our industry is, this is an ever changing industry, and anybody's in this industry that works in supply chain knows that, freight never sleeps. It's constantly moving. There's every day there's new obstacles and implications that we have to face. So we have to really be nimble in our day to day efforts. And I think when under the backdrop of the pandemic in the past year, we already have this complex industry, and then coupled with balancing working from home, new restructuring around your operations, new roles and initiatives, it's a lot to juggle. And naturally, people can become overwhelmed. They can have anxiety, increased stress. So it's really, really important to find opportunities or have resources for industry wide people to be able to find ways to navigate that. And so I think circling back to Shipwell, that's an initiative that's really important for them. And, this month in particular, a specific, launch that they had was a mental health specific PTO day. And they've been very vocal on encouraging us to take that time off to reset and take care of ourselves. But you're right. This is not just a 1 month topic. This is year round. And so, they are also launching webinars year round to talk about managing stress in the workplace, wellness, and how to manage being remote forward. So this is new territory. And I think that while we have a number of different roles in supply chain, the common ground has been the pandemic. So we're all navigating and juggling new obstacles during this time.
Natalie, we talk about this quite often that, these major stressors on societies cause huge advancements, right? I mean, there's obviously issues in the negatives. We don't need to beat that horse to death with COVID, but
Right.
there's also advancements that happen. Is it not a kind of one of the silver linings, this awareness of mental health and destigmatizing it, what has occurred over the last year? You're talking about an industry where typically thick skin is something
Right.
that you need, right? I've grown up in it in 35 years, over the last 35 years, right? So it's gone from this, many different levels of how you treat each other, right? And some of that is still here. Let's just say that when you're remote and you can't see the other person, it's hard to have that camaraderie that's a little bit difficult and can be a little stinging at times when the stress of this environment. Is it not some of that good thing? And what are some of the good things that are coming out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree with you more. I would say that this industry is known for kind of that grit and that hustle that you need to
Right.
have to be in here. And so those are those keywords that you see. But I think a lot of the positives around, this year and try in the efforts to destigmatize this topic, I personally have seen a trend around leadership telling their stories and showing that vulnerability. And I think that that builds a lot of trust to your employees. I'm seeing it on LinkedIn. I'm not sure about you, but constantly there are C-suite level leaders sharing about, their work days and, what they're struggling with and that need to take time off, and what resources they're leveraging. And so that's really helpful for employees to see. And I think that in, navigating and working remote and the new restructuring that a lot of business had to do, it opened up space for new cultural initiatives and progress, whether it be virtual messaging groups or maybe online trivia games, just new ways for employees to stay connected that may not have been explored before. So, that I've seen a lot of progress there, and that vulnerability piece I think is really important. And in an industry where we're known for being tough and gritty and just nonstop, it's great to see that other level of, hey, we're a human people to people environment. And so sharing that level of humanity has been really, really great to see. And I would say a very positive, plus.
I think that you bring up a really good point about that, especially when it comes to sharing your vulnerability. And we can put that in the form of context of recruiting and retention when it comes to bringing people into this industry.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you've got people who maybe don't want to come and be a driver or be a broker or be involved in this because they're worried, oh, I'm not mentally tough enough to do this. I'm not, I don't have the grit, I don't have the toughness, I don't have the wherewithal to deal with people yelling
really
at me
24/7?
all day. Right. But
is.
it is kind of refreshing to see that, hey, I can come into the space and I have the opportunity to be vulnerable and to be myself because I'm seeing that from my leadership and from these other people in the industry too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
I think that that's a great point.
it is a great point. Let's talk a little bit about the current marketplace that's going on right now, man. What is going on in the industry right now from your perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I'm seeing from my perspective in the market, I think is consistent with what we're hearing, across the industry. And, what I'm seeing being preached on, FreightWaves right now is it's a lot of what's been going on for the past year. The pandemic had significant implications on the supply chain, and we're still seeing those disruptions today. And then on top of that, you have, the more seasonal disruptions like tomorrow's end of month. We have a holiday coming up. And so all of those disruptions are adding, layers of impact across the supply chain. Capacity is really tight. So I think where you're seeing at the carrier level, the broker level, and the shipper level is a need for additional visibility to help them make those informed decisions and help them navigate through this time. I know that visibility piece is a really important initiative here at Shipwell. We actually just launched a cool new feature called the Compass Dashboard. And what that does is it provides logistics teams real-time visibility into events that can negatively impact their supply chain, and then as well as tools to help resolve those issues.
Awesome.
So talk about that for a second. In the headlines, we were talking about technology and bringing it into the system. And actually, in some instances, which I don't think this is a shock really because we're in this, it causes a slowdown of productivity, right? Because it kind of silos different things, right? When you bring in this compass, how is this connecting things and what type of information is that encompassing? Because you said a couple words there that imply something, and you said it brings in events that could slow down. So is this predictive modeling? Is that what's going on with this compass?
Yeah, so it's a number of different combinations, but what it's doing is it allows at the individual level within companies' supply chain to be able to customize what they're viewing. And so based off of their KPIs, they can create alerts that allow them to see, what's important to their daily tasks, whether it's, late deliveries, late pickups, maybe carriers not tracking on EDI, or if they have special projects that require additional visibility visibility, they can set those alerts. And then in tandem, they are able to click and react within those shipments without having to move to another screen or go to a different third-party platform. The idea is to give a single source solution of visibility so that customers can really be nimble and react quickly. Because right now, I think time to action is one of the most important topics in this industry.
Absolutely.
So this seems like something that you can kind of use to be more on the proactive side of things, even if it's still technically reactive by taking like that 1 or 2 second reaction, but you're still trying to think ahead of those possible disruptions.
Yes, absolutely. And taking it back to, mental health too, is having that time to action also helps your employees work smarter, not harder, and can give them more time that they need to, work and create that work-life balance with reducing the amount of clicks and reducing the amount of time that they need on a task. So, I want to be mindful too, just to highlight a couple tips around mental health. And,
Oh, let's do that.
yeah, 4 tips that I found really useful are, find a routine that works for you, and you can individualize that, whether it's working out in the morning, having, that 30 minutes of you time before you log on to make sure that you have uninterrupted time to focus, taking a couple breaks during the day. I don't know about you both, but I really have taken advantage of a couple 15-minute breaks to be able to go for a walk and reset. And then having a resource of people or community that you can lean on when you are experiencing those moments of stress and overwhelmed, whether that be coworkers or friends or family. And then lastly, and I can't emphasize this enough in our efforts to destigmatize mental health in the industry, seek professional help and lean on your business and your employers on the resources that they have to help you through that time.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because when it comes to talking about mental health, I'm a big proponent of not talking about mental health in the terms of treating mental illness, right? You want to
Yes.
talk about it in building your mental fitness
Yeah.
building your own mental wellness around, whether that's knowing your coping mechanisms or understanding what you can do to help yourself and others feel better. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, Nathalie. Thank you so much for that one.
Absolutely, Kaylee. And I love the way that you just summed that up. I'll be taking that point with me.
Yeah,
Do it.
exactly. I'm doing mental push-ups right now.
Mental push-ups,
I'm
gotta
doing
stay
those
tough,
push-ups
right?
in my mind right now, where it counts.
I could
Thank you
probably
so much
use
for
some
joining us today, Nathalie. We really, really appreciate it. We'll have people reach out to you at Shipwell as well if you guys need any of those Compass solutions or just want to learn more about mental health. Go check her out on LinkedIn.